September 11th, and we in Cato Township would like to commemorate those who lost their lives, both citizens and first responders. So if you join me in a moment of silence for the victims and all of those affected by 9/11. Thank you. We'll start the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Barcover here, Lincoln. Reeser? Yes. And Myers? Here. Everybody's here. You all should have had a draft of the agenda sent out before the meeting. Does anyone have anything they would like to add? I have it in my assessor's report, but we'll make note of that as part of my supervisor's report, I always update on the assessing department, so I do have a request from the assessor for some training. And then I also want to add, probably put this during the planning commission report after David gives his update. We did have done some looking into the Met Tower permit. We did have somebody ask about that. I can't remember if it was last meeting or the meeting before. And also, I did receive a couple things from residents regarding local zoning in the news at the state level. So I'd like to add those two things under the planning commission when we get to that report. So I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of, I guess, those three things, assessor and the two planning commission things. Can I get a second?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Next thing is the approval of the August minutes. We all received these ahead of time. Anybody have any comments or questions or corrections? I thought they looked pretty good. One just slight tweak on page 2 says Hubbard and Myers both attended MTA training sessions for taxations, and then Myers attended risk management. If you could just about the second paragraph down, or no, fourth paragraph, last sentence. Find it.
Right here. No.
Right here. You just want to put again Myers for risk management right there. Otherwise, aside from that one change, I was good with it. So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes with the one correction. Is there a second? Support. Motion's been made and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on the agenda items. So we'll give 3 minutes for anyone who would like to make a comment on what we have on our agenda.
I guess I would, if I heard you supported the wind petition or amendment, this might go to the state. Did I hear that? That it's on the agenda? That you added that to the agenda?
We did add that, yep. So if you would like to make a comment on it.
I would like to make a comment on it, that I believe that it's imperative that we keep zoning in our townships and in our county. And to give it back to the state just because we want to support 80% of our money going to China, I disagree with it. And I support it, and I would support the board for looking at that issue.
Anybody else comment? All right, we'll go ahead and close the first public comment. We just had the one comment from Ben Stowe. Treasurer's report. Joyce?
Alright, so on your report today you have last month and this month. If you remember last month, things didn't balance out right because of the change of the beginning of the year. So I'm gonna read last month and then I'll go ahead and read this month after. So on 8/7, our beginning balance of the township was $541,090.24. We had an income of $353.25. Our bills totaled $144,234.08. Our ending balance was $397,210.01. Fire district, our beginning balance was $51,704.22. Income was $7.41. Bills were $44,849. Ending balance was $6,862.63. And then Honeymoon Heights, our beginning balance was $9,870.97. Income was $2.10. We had an ending balance of $9,873.07. CDs, beginning and ending balance for both months is our beginning balance was $109,151.44. No income, no bills for CDs, that changes at the end of this month. So then this month, township, our beginning balance was $397,210.01. Our income was $49,118.81. Our bills totaled $68,242.94. So our ending balance is $378,085.88. And just a note on the income, we had EFTPS from May of $1,530.32. That never went through. By now it's processed. We've made up for that, so that has been voided out. So we had to add that back into our income for this
That
year.
was payroll taxes, EFTPS?
Yes.
Okay.
So sometimes things, the way they get flipped around over there, they either don't get a check and then they make it up in the next month, say you owe us this money, so we end up paying it again in a different amount, or they'll add it to the next month.
So we paid our payroll taxes through EFTPS,
Correct.
and they said we owed them more?
No, they didn't cash that, or they didn't get that amount. So like, we have it on our books to pay them, and they didn't get it.
So we didn't submit it?
No, I think if I understand correctly, you have to run a EFTPS check through the QuickBooks system. You also have to go online and make the payment, because QuickBooks doesn't automatically send it. So I think sometimes we do the automatic payment, but you have to remember to go back in QuickBooks and enter it in too.
Okay.
And it's,
But because it was from a different year, we have to add it to our income, because otherwise our balance is gonna be off at the end of the month.
Okay, so we had to reverse it off.
Correct.
Is it double entered in QuickBooks, like we show we paid 2 payroll taxes? Okay, alright.
So fire district, our beginning balance was $51,704.22. Oops, I lied. I missed that line. Hold on, let me go on my computer. 2 seconds here. Fire district, beginning balance was $6,855.22. We have an income of $7.41. Our ending balance is $6,862.63. So as a right ending balance, I just,
Okay, so that 44,849, that's on this month's bills, right?
correct.
Okay, so it shouldn't be in.
So I didn't take that off. So our ending balance is 68,62,63, which is on my report.
Okay,
Beginning balance should have been 68,55,22. So doing the 2 backwards, I missed this down here.
say the total again, Joyce, 60.
So on August 7th, the ending balance for the fire district should be 68,55,22.
so the beginning balance,
That's
yeah, I was
right.
gonna say that's
Okay.
not.
Hold on.
I would think the August one would be pretty high.
End of July, so end of June, the balance was 51,682.27.
Sorry about that.
We have an income in July for $21.95, which makes our balance $51,704.22. In August, we have a debit of $44,849, and we have a credit of $741. So our balance is $68,62.63. I don't know how I messed that one up.
September 11th, 2023, we're at the 68, 62, 63 is correct.
Correct.
And maybe if you could just revise, give us
Yep.
revised copies,
Yep.
later, that would be.
I don't know how I missed up the fire department.
And the fire district, that is the
Semi-annual payment.
semi-annual payment to pretty well clear that fund down.
Correct.
Okay.
And then Honeymoon Heights, make sure I got this right. Our beginning balance was $9,873.07. We have an income of $2.10. Our ending balance is $9,875.17. So that one is correct.
I guess, should we table, I guess, approving until we get our new revisions, or,
I think she just gave us her new revisions.
okay. All right, well, yeah, let's get an updated report next time, but so the balances on September 11th, 2023 are all correct as presented here.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to accept the ending balance amounts for September. And then we'll get updated reports at a later date. Is there support for
I'll
that?
support that.
Okay, motion's been made and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And then just real quick on tax, collection dates. So we got one more in-person date, September 14th.
Correct.
Where they can come in and pay their taxes. Otherwise, they can pay them through the village website. And then September 15th is the last date that they can apply for deferment of summer taxes.
Correct. I have to have them by September 15th.
By September
If they
15th.
bring me them on 15th, I will accept them.
Okay. All right, moving on to the clerk's report, September bills, Todd did give us a revised list with a few added to the end, everybody should have got that.
DTE per guest for the month is $54.29. There are two consumers' bills this month, $29.89 for the cemetery, $104.84 for community center. McKenna's for land planning, zoning master plan is $1,720. Foster Swift for attorney, was $166.25, and that was for the joint zoning training.
Okay, I was gonna ask that.
The third consumer's bill is streetlight $65.14, Granger for the dumpster is $99.36, Richards for the porta-john is $165. Both of those items will get discontinued next month for the winter. FICA payment for the month, payroll withholding $1711.62. Cass Air Point for internet is $75.24. Brian at the cemetery is $675. The water bill for the month here is $49.94. Both clerk and treasurer reimbursed for rental reimbursement, $150 each. There's two Verizon bills, one for August, one for September, $155.18 apiece. They just have to come back to back.
You put one is 115.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
The first one you wrote
Oh.
115. So it should be 155.
115.18 and 155.18.
Okay, so the amount is right, you just read it wrong.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. Zoning Board of Appeals wages was $120. Dave Kelsey for the month is $494.10. The first assessor debit is $745.47. Heidi is $1407.41. Monthly board wages is $3274.77. Reimbursement for Joyce for $19.06 for some cleaning supplies. The semi-annual payment to the fire district was $44,894. We rented the village chipper at the cemetery for some tree work for $440.07. Brian had removed the row of trees out there. I think he's got a little bit more to go. The reappraisal from MSN is $875 for the parcels that they did last month. Reimbursed Joyce for cleaning the community center for $200. Montcalm County Road Commission billed us for the last chloride treatment, $77.94.60. Got a bill at the hardware store for $127.25 for Clorox, and another bill from the attorney for $275.
Anybody have any questions for Todd? So that reappraisal, is that the assessor's contractor?
Yep.
Okay, so they've done some more parcels
They did,
and they sent a bill.
they did, I have it here somewhere.
And then for the chloride, that's the last one, but, they had sent that email, it was right
Yeah,
before the
yeah.
holiday.
That is the one.
Is that the one she said was past due?
That's the first I've seen that.
Okay, I was
That
thinking
came-
she was talking about the second one.
That came Friday. I'll have to double check. I thought it was the last one.
Well, I think we had one on, I was expecting it to be the last one, but she sent that email that said she
Oh,
was
it does say
showing
invoice
past.
date 7/13.
Yeah, but we paid that. Did you respond to her? Okay, and she said we're good?
No, I have the check here tonight. I'll have to look in last month's bills, make sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was in the bills last month, I'd have to look,
I
but,
don't have it out here. I'll double check
okay, yeah,
before
let's
I send it.
make sure we're up to date with them.
Yep.
And then that, last Foster Swift bill, I've got that in my legal update, there was a few things we had to talk to her with the zoning board of appeals. And then you also included a, budget to actual,
I did that last week before these last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bills.
okay, was there anything, I guess you wanted to report on?
No, not necessarily. I just, so everybody can see what percentage of each budget,
Okay.
we have spent.
Okay, yeah, and again, next time, maybe if we could run that detailed one, so that we can see all the sub-accounts, that would be helpful. And then maybe you and I can, sit down and, allocate so we have some ARPA spending. I'm not sure what's all in the 2409, but, we have, the assessor was going to be paid with ARPA, the security system. So what we need to do is do a journal entry to bring in the revenue and, basically, I guess, clear it off our balance sheet. So maybe if you and I can get together, get that squared away, because we'll be discussing that going forward. I wanna make sure we're keeping up on it.
So I can go back to this chloride bill, 7794.60 was paid on 7/26.
I was gonna say, I
Right.
thought it was in, so it was mailed out, or,
Apparently she hasn't got it.
okay, well,
But I'll have to check, I'll just have to check with her tomorrow.
any other questions for Todd? Hearing none, can I get, looking for motion to approve paying the bills?
So move minus the road commission bill.
Isn't that for the third treatment, cause or the one you just pulled, you said, says,
That says July.
cause they just came out
But they would have done it before July
before
4th.
Labor Day.
So I don't know if that's the second one or the third one.
Okay, alright, so we're gonna,
I'll-
you're making a motion
To-
minus,
To approve minus the bill.
okay, is there a second for that? Second. Okay, motion's been made and, supported to approve the bills with the exclusion of the road commission until we get that straightened out. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under the clerk's report, there was a couple of things of note. So the L4029 for our tax millages, I signed that, you signed that, did we get that submitted?
To clerk's office and equalization.
All good, okay. Anything new, I know I ask every time just because I know it's a hot topic, but election wise,
I spoke to the county clerk today, and the plan is that the county will handle the 9 days of early voting, in-person voting.
okay,
But
we'll have to cost share with them.
the only issue for me is there is a deadline when we have to enter into an agreement with the county, and I don't know that date. I think it's in October.
Okay,
And she's aware of that, and it's gonna be the same for all 20 townships right now. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but it sounds like most are gonna consolidate.
okay,
For what is this one?
The 9 days of early voting in person prior to election day.
Oh.
So, right now, we don't have an election until August primary, unless there's one for the school in May.
Okay. Just wanna make sure I have my dates correct, I thought you were saying we had an election.
No.
2024, August primary would be our next.
So that'd be 9 days before every election then, there's no other time.
Wow,
So you gotta have this.
You have to have your office, you'd have to have your precinct open 8 hours a day, staffed by both Democrat and Republican inspectors, myself, days in a row, a lot of them would have to take time off work in order to do it. So then you'd have to get a rotation of a few people. Anyway,
All right, how about the audit? Have we heard from her when she wants to do field work?
I've not heard word.
Not yet,
She
okay.
has 6 months, I think, after the fiscal year as far as.
Yeah, cause it's due by December 31, so I guess. And then you, will be, oh, you've already replaced the lock on the election, we approved this last month. Election door, the three of us, who are on the election committee have a key. And then you will be replacing the office lock,
Right.
and, I guess we'll determine how many keys we're gonna issue on that, okay? All right, that's it for the clerk's report. Other reports, zoning administrator, Dave Kelsey.
Okay, for the month of August, there were 2 permits. One was 6521 Schmid Road, that was for a home addition. And then there's a new home at 1160 Spruce Street. And an update on, one of the, violations on, 11926 Elmy. They, actually, they have probably a 60-foot, mobile home, remodeling it, and you can't do that on your property. It's not a salvage yard. I took it to court, I believe it was on the 6th, and, I had the wrong birth date for the guy. What it is, his name and his son's name is the same thing on record where we can get it. It just had his son's birth date and not the owner. So I dug a little deeper, got, okay, either it's his wife or his daughter. I believe it's his wife. I've got her birth date and driver's license number, and I'm taking the same situation back to court. I talked to the magistrate, sometime after the hearing, and let him know what was going on. So we were supposed to come back on October 16th for that one case with the guy that, and I told him maybe I could find the birth date and all, which we couldn't. So I did call him and say I got the woman's name and her birth date. So he's gonna leave it at the 16th, and she's gonna have to appear. And with the blight, I added on the second ticket, I added quite a bit more things to it since they're wanting to make it hard, you know. So there is blight out there. Sheriff's, I went to the sheriff's department, talked to him, the lieutenant, and he said they didn't see any blight. There's blight out there, a lot of scrap metal and everything. So now, when it goes back on October 16th, they're gonna have to address that till they come up. And so I talked to the magistrate a little bit beforehand. So.
He gave them so many days to clean it up.
We couldn't, he suggested that they get it cleaned up, or I'm gonna end up coming back with more and more and more. If nothing happens this time, I'll get deeper in the book and just create more, not create, just get a little, more picky
Well,
about the
I
blight.
guess see what happens on the 16th.
16th, yeah, which I'm confident that the magistrate will have. The guy, or the owner did want to be able to keep working on it for a year, you know, which, you know, that's way out of line. The magistrate said there's no way, you know, you can't do something like that. Anyway, that's it.
Anything else? Just a couple things I'll add, from the zoning board of appeals, they did get a variance request on a land division. And that's all been scheduled for September 26th, and, published, public notice has been published and everybody notified, so that'll be taking place. Marcy, did you wanna give a update on what's activity for land divisions in general?
Yeah, so, since I took that position, I've actually, been talking to nine different, individuals contacted me for land division. We managed to succeed in two, which I've already, sent that information to the assessor. They're good on there. I'm right now working with two, individuals, and, the rest have not, I've spoken with them, but they have not gotten back with me with their applications.
So you've issued two, but these were before we adopted our $50 fee.
That's correct. So I did not, charge them a fee because we hadn't adopted that yet. but from the date of adoption now going forward, I will, yep,
As
there'll be
we
a fee,
adopted it.
there'll be a fee.
Okay.
And yeah, there's, it's been, interesting talking to different individuals who bring up all kinds of good points on things. A lot of people are, they get upset, but, so we're working on that, we're working on that.
All right, planning commission, Dave,
We haven't had a meeting on Wednesdays,
Wednesday.
Wednesday night, but we have the complaint form, cause she did some changes, so we'll approve that, I'm sure, and then I'll bring it back for next month, and then the master plan, we got a rough copy here, I'm sure, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna take up most of the rest of the meeting on Wednesday, cause it's quite detailed, I mean, the pictures are a whole lot more easier to read, and she's done a lot of work to it for what we're paying for, I think, also.
And once you guys go through it, then maybe the board can look at it.
Yes.
If you have revisions, she can make those, and then we can look at it after you've done a first pass at it.
You said it means October 9th?
No, it's this Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
Yep.
6 o'clock.
Is that it on
Yeah.
planning commission? The two things that I had added, in the realm of planning, zoning, so somebody, in public comment had asked about the Met Tower permit, that is, or the Met Tower that is up, in the corner, or Diener 91 area. And, I did some digging to try to find how, when it was permitted, and in some of, Larry's records, there was a special land use permit application. Dan Paris on behalf of Apex Clean Energy, owner Eugene Rensler. This was dated September 15th of 2020. And in our ordinance, Met Towers are allowed as a temporary, special use. And, it says, they call them anemometer. An anemometer shall be permitted for no more than 13 months for a small turbine and no more for 3 years for a large turbine. So that permit was, it was applied for in September, and I can find no records. Now, a special land use in our ordinance is required to go through the planning commission, and there should have been a public hearing on it at the planning commission level, and the best I can tell is it just went for a variance request. I found this October 15th, 2020, notice of public hearing. Eugene Rensler requesting variance for a temporary 196-foot tower for extended period in section 34 at 266 feet south of Diener Road for gathering wind speed data. I can find no minutes from this hearing, and for one, the zoning board of appeals doesn't have the authority to grant special land uses, and I asked Phil and I asked David, who would have both been on the planning commission around that time, and to your knowledge, there was never any public hearing or meeting at the planning commission level, so it doesn't look like the proper procedure was followed. That being said, it is what it is, it's built now, but our ordinance says that the permit shall be for no more than 3 years. So my understanding would be they would need to reapply for the special land use permit. Now, I think that the variance is probably good. I mean, that's done. I mean, it happened, it's built. But they should reapply for the special use because it's only temporary and it's only good for 3 years.
When is
So,
that third?
what's that?
What's the date on the third year?
It would be, so this happened in October 2020 was when the permit would have gone out. Now, I don't think they built it till maybe February or something of the next year, but the permit,
When you started the permit?
I would start at the permit, yeah.
Brandy, I do remember, now I get that, I mean, we own land right across the hill road there. But we got notified, but that would have been for zoning board of appeals, just like you have a.
That would be for zoning board of
Yes,
appeals.
Yeah, I remember getting that now, but we didn't,
Yeah.
nothing for the planning.
Okay, yeah, the zoning board of appeals can't issue special use permits, they can do variances, but so-
That probably meant for design.
it doesn't appear that we followed proper procedure back then, but, so I would say that needs to come from the township, a letter to the applicant and let them know that their permit is coming due. And then if they wish to reapply, then they need to
What's the variance for?
Again, I can't find any minutes, but it says requesting a variance for a temporary 196-foot tower, which I think is probably height. But it says for an extended period, and I don't know what that means. But I know our ordinance says that a permit is only good for 3 years for a Met tower. So,
And it may not be a variance for the time now, correct? If they never did get a variance for the time, for an extended time, then it expires in October.
that's my understanding, and again, was proper procedure followed in general?
Now,
Definitely not at the planning commission, who has to approve special uses.
another township, I tried to get information from, what's it called, Apex, and they said, oh, yeah, we'll send you one. I don't know who I would talk to, but I never received it. I wanted a copy to make it valid, if they had problems finding it, so I don't know if they'd give you any documents, but they wouldn't.
Do you
mail it.
remember being at a variance hearing on that?
No, I don't remember it.
Okay, yes, I would like to see some minutes from it, but I can't find any. Maybe if we dug way, I mean, I've tried looking at file cabinet, but,
We don't have planning commission minutes.
well, there's strewn about all through that file cabinet, cause I sat down, I actually spent a Friday, two Friday, before Labor Day in there trying to put that together. So maybe there could be something shoved in a file or something, but I couldn't find it. But I will, say that I can draft something, a letter, and then I think we should send it on behalf of the township that,
Okay.
to permit, so. So there's that, and then the other issue, so in the, this is supposedly coming out this week, somebody in the legislature will be, bringing forth a bill to potentially take local zoning decisions away from townships and put them at the state level for renewable energy. And I think I've also heard gravel mines and short-term rentals. As of right now, it's just been said that it's supposed to come out this week. However, the MTA has been in their weekly